I was not aware of it. Actually, my wife figured that out actually because she's not a musician, but she's uh, loves music and is very good with music, very good with producing music. And so she one day asked me of how I write my music, or he said, what do you hear? What do you see? And I said, well, I paint. I see colors. Like the certain notes are certain colors to me, and then it just kind of blends together, and I paint. And she was very intrigued by that, and I just thought, well, I just never thought about that process. I never had talked about it until she asked me, and I had never talked about it, never thought about it. And then she actually went and looked it up, and then came back and said that's synesthesia. I had no idea. So apparently that there's such a thing of when you associate music with that. But for me, it's always been like that. What's interesting is when uh, I visited my parents in Germany, we went through they kept all my old school books and music books, and there was one of my early books that I learned music on and learned the notes. There was actually colors that were put on the piano for me to learn the notes, so I could visually learn the different notes on the paper. But what's interesting is those colors don't uh, they're not the same as the colors I see with those notes now. So you would have thought, oh, as a young kid, I saw this color with this note, so that's why. But they're different actually. But maybe that was the starting point for me, that I learned music that way, and that's how I see it now. I don't know. It's very hard for me to describe because it's not just, oh yeah, there's this color, so it's this note. And again, that's why these visuals are so beautiful, because it all kind of blends together. There might be a person on screen might be wearing a red dress, but then the background you see green trees, or there's the ocean, there's the blue sky, or even uh, the the camera filters might even do that for me, where sometimes there's a little bit more of a blue tone or a yellow tone, and it somehow puts me down a path where my hands move, and it just goes from there. It's a process I don't really understand, and I almost don't want to understand it because I feel it kind of it keeps me free, and I don't try to uh, mathematically analyze of why these things get triggered for me that way. I think I'm kind of, as I said, I'd never really thought about it before, and I struggle talking about it. Yeah, no, my wife said, I mean, and she goes, well, do you always hear music? And I said, well, yeah, of course. I said, don't you? And she goes, no, I don't always hear music in my head. But for me, it's always there, actually. I can't really turn it off. It's always uh, when I walk, or like I said, when I exercise, or sometimes I'm just in the car by myself and I don't listen to music. Because it's always on.